stars, and that's who we are. We are voices. There's nothing to fear. Explode in your rear. Feel our voices.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Episode 2 of Tabletop Gaming on VOR. This is Ed.
This is Mike.
This is Carl, and we are joined by...
Sure.
This is Max.
Max.
I love Sherman's enthusiasm.
Technical difficulties. Yes. Oh, breaking.
She
Holy
jumped
shit.
Yeah.
Carl!
That's right. Hulkamania time, man.
That's right. Need her to come back in time for a wrestling episode.
Yeah.
God.
Well, when is there a WWE card game yet?
There's been multiple.
Oh.
There was a Raw Deal back in the day. There's been online ones called With Authority, stuff like that. So, yeah.
Raw Deal. I love it.
Yeah. It's a great name. Fortunately, didn't do too well, but you'll have that.
It's a different.
Yeah.
It's a different fan. That's a different customer.
Mm-hmm.
That's a completely different customer.
You mean Carl?
Yes.
Card game? Wrestling?
Well, I mean, that's the worst part is, like, I am that audience. And I am such a small part of the audience that it's just, like, people that like card games, pro wrestling, you know, it's like, that Venn diagram only has a sliver right there, I think.
Carl's the coolest guy at Hulkamania, whatever, that no one wants to sit by because they think he's too smart. Like, oh, let's not sit by that. He's not going to set fire to it.
But the lonely lunch table.
Yeah, he really is. He will set fire to it.
I will. I actually, in high school, I took a chair shot. It was actually in our senior video.
Really?
Yeah, I took a full-blown, unprotected shot to the head with a folding chair.
Did you do it on purpose?
Yeah, yeah. It was one of those things we were bored, and we were backstage on the stage at the gym. And I told my friend Mike, I was like, just do it. And clunk. So there's video proof of it. I'll have to find it sometime.
Yes, you do.
Oh, okay, I've got weird video footage stuff for you. When I was in the military, do you guys bleep? Can you guys bleep things?
What? Like you don't want to tell the story on air?
No, if I were to say a name.
Oh. Do you need to say the name?
I would just say bleep.
Just wait. Okay, so I was roommates with this guy named Bleep for about 3 days, and he was not only was he a huge pervert, like who said that I could look at his smut. He referred to porn as smut. I could look at his porn, but I had to make sure that everything was put back where it was, not clean. Like he didn't stress clean or anything. It was just back where it was. But he had a whole wall of videos because he would go to any wrestling event that ever happened. But he wore this hot pink, neon pink, like baseball cap. That, you know, just a baseball cap. It was like a spongy material, and he would do things like in the audience like this, and he would videotape it from home so that he could see himself like spazzing out in the audience. Those videos, that and smut, and I was literally his roommate for like 3 or 4 days, and then like I went to the first cert and I was like, hey, I need to change my room, and it's personal reasons. It's room 211, and he was like, oh, you're there with Bleep, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, yeah, we'll move you out. 4 days, huh? You took it, and I was like, yeah, I did pretty good.
If only I knew getting my own room at college would have been that easy.
Oh, dude, no, really, he scared the hell out of me. He was real pasty white. Yeah, he was all pasty white, and he always shaved his own head, and it was just creepy, but, yeah.
Wow.
That's wrestling stuff. Okay.
That's not even wrestling stuff. That's off
That's
the map.
something else stuff.
Well,
But
yeah,
great.
wrestling, but it was weird. However, I'm bogarting this entire segment.
I just want to see this segue. That's what I'm waiting for.
Well, because that took passion, and that's commitment, and that's love.
Passion for smut.
Commitmentally.
That is what he cares about, and that's that. And like, did you videotape yourself? Yeah, actually, you did, taking the chair shot.
Yeah.
Mm.
Damn you. Anyway, back to passion and love and commitment. We've got two people that are sitting here who have taken what it is that they love and they've taken it to another level. And this is from the heart. I mean, I didn't read show notes or anything like that. I had no idea what was going on this evening. And I started with shows. We were talking over the very long amount of time between shows here. For the past day, we've been talking about this. And Sherm is a person who left her job to start, essentially, I guess would you call it a cafe?
I would call it more a board game parlor. We have snacks and wine and beer and things, but we don't offer a lot of like hearty meal food options.
Right. Because I live in Orlando and we are like hipsters. I'm not, but we have hipsters, and everyone's turning their clothing store into a bar, and they're turning their record shop into a roller rink. It's a roller rink record shop, and then the gas station is a massage parlor gas station. Everything's just this thing, but no matter what it is, it's a boutique or it's a cafe.
Is that the rub and the pump and rub?
The pump and rub.
Was it rub and pump?
Yeah, they took our idea. We went to Japan, and then they got our idea. But so here you are. You leave a job where you have an income, and you're not worried about what you buy, and you could go buy yourself a Millennium Falcon BMF like Mr. Ed has in the back there. But then you jump into a situation with a friend who essentially had it established for a year, but you gave up everything to open a gaming parlor when there's not even arcades anymore. That's balls. And tell me what that's like.
It is absolutely terrifying. Yeah, it was very a comfortable job. I knew I could have it for years and years, and I had actually invested in that company, so I mean, pretty much would have been making bank.
Right.
But when somebody offers you to basically take on your dream job, you pretty much have to say yes. I feel silly that it took me as long as it did to say yes, but I have never looked back. It's been an amazing ride. I know we just started off, but I could not be happier with my decision. But it is still horribly terrifying, but worth every moment.
See, kids, that's commitment. That's what it takes.
So when you say parlor, that's really my mind is reeling with possible imagery. Mostly again because Max and I we lived in Japan and we've been to like maid cafes. But can you describe your shop? Like, what is the parlor?
So actually, it has a really homey feel. It's kind of like a speakeasy feel on the outside, where there's not a lot of signage. We're down the side street off the main strip. There's just a neon glowing sign that has our logo, and then you go down these stairs, and it's actually so cute. We call them our peekaboo guest. Like, people will stop at the top of the stairs and kind of like look in and see what's going on, and they just sit there and look for a little while, and I usually have to run over to like encourage them to come down. Otherwise, they're like, no, they like run away. One girl even screamed before she ran out. Because it's a very different idea, and people aren't exactly sure what they're getting into. So you come down the stairs, and then there's like just tables. And they look like kitchen tables, and it's a little bit haphazard as far as it's not all uniform. But I think that kind of adds to the charm of it. And then we have an entire wall just filled with almost 400 board games.
So board games. So like I could bring Taboo in there and play that.
Well, we actually don't allow outside games, but you could come and play any of the games that you wanted to there.
Okay, so let's say I didn't bring the game, but let's say I wore one of those headbands with the thing on the front of it, and there's no thing stuck to the front of it, but I did have it on. I was going to use it when I walk in.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is, but I would love it if you wore that.
Yeah, there's a game.
Headband.
There's a game now with a headband, and you stick a card in it so that you can't see what's on the card, and the people around you have to describe within a certain amount of time.
Oh, right.
And you have to figure out what that image is.
That's to keep people from licking the cards. Maybe you've seen it in the popular film Inglourious Bastards. So I'm glad that there's gear that you can. Card game gear.
I think it's really interesting, like that Mike said that there's no arcades anymore, because me and Rebecca are kind of lucky because we both are familiar with Columbus, which is a very interesting town right now. As far as cities go, it's kind of on the forefront of a lot of different things, and there actually are arcades in Columbus now, and there's actually like the barcades. So you're seeing people actually have bars with arcades built into them where you can play games. Just about every bar has pinball machines or video arcade games again. You know, it's very a takeoff thing where you're actually seeing stuff like that again. And I think the board games is just a natural progression of it, because I think what we're seeing is a younger generation of people come in that don't know how to socialize like people used to socialize. And board games, arcade games, pinball machines, pool tables, things of that nature are easy ways to get into socializing, because so many people are so stuck behind Facebook and their cell phones and everything that a lot of people don't know how to just sit down and talk and be around other people anymore. And I think that's one reason why you're seeing the popularity of these things pop up like they are now.
What's the age limit on these places?
Most of them are actually adult only because of the alcohol.
Well, the barcades, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like, is there any age restrictions at Kingmakers?
Not at all. The only stipulation is you have to have an adult with you if you're under 18, and that's mostly just so that we're not babysitting.
Right.
Yeah, good idea. So Max is also kind of putting it out there. I mean, when I heard you were going to Dublin, I'm just like, oh, what a cool vacation. I'm so jealous. Like, no.
Yeah, it was plane ticket bought and paid for by Wizards of the Coast for win the qualifier and get out
That
there.
is so rockstar! See? That's it, man! That is it. You are playing that game. Now them bitches are paying for your plane ticket. Shut up!
Yeah, it was pretty sweet because that got to be my like vacation for the year. I was like, all right, well, I can actually like still keep the cycle going of going somewhere out of country every year, and I don't think it's gonna happen this year, but because all the Pro Tours are in the United States, which is kind of boring.
Wow.
In the last segment, you mentioned a 5-figure prize payout.
Yeah, so there are two major. All right, well, let me backtrack. There are a ton of tournaments that pay out in cash. The two major ones that Wizards runs are the Grand Prix and the Pro Tour.
Okay.
The Pro Tour prize payout starts at $1,000 and caps at $40,000
Shut.
for first place. Yeah. The Grand Prix start at $100 or something like that, and they end at like $3,000. But they're open invite, so anyone can play in those. Pro Tour is invite only. And then there are a bunch of the secondary market where you have Star City Games, TCG Player. You get a lot of these companies that buy and sell singles, which kind of skips that whole pack problem that you guys mentioned at the last show, where so people like me, that people want to play professionally, you don't buy packs anymore. It's not worth it. And you just buy the singles. And so these companies have popped up that sell singles, and they've started running tournaments because that generates interest, which generates more people playing at a competitive level, which means more people are buying the singles. And so Star City Games has I think they're 10 grand prize pools or 20 grand prize pools every weekend, and then TCG does it I think every weekend too, and they're all over the continental U.S.
Wow.
And like Star City will do one on Saturday and one on Sunday, and so they do 2 tournaments a weekend.
That is so, Carl.
Yes.
When he says secondary, is that like a third-party Transformer figure?
That's like backyard wrestling. This guy's jumping off the roof and there. Yeah.
Is it really? So it's not necessarily sanctioned, right? But it's.
Yeah. So Wizards of the Coast, the company that makes the cards, they print the product. They do all the boosters, the sealed decks, the stuff like that. They're effectively making, randomized sets. It's the booster packs, the booster boxes, the cases, so on and so forth. They will occasionally print something that you know what you're going to get in it. It tends to be stuff that's, for collectors, or if they've realized that, because they're very keyed in on tournament attendance, and so if there's a certain card, say, that, you have to absolutely play, or you have to have access to 4 of, and it's really rare, and the price on the secondary market is $100. They will, at some point, maybe print one of these sealed products that you're guaranteed 2 of them, or something like that. Okay. But for the most part, before they do that, when the entire card pool is open, you'll have people have figured out, you buy 10,000 boxes or 10,000 boosters, whatnot, as a company. You open all of them, you sort all of them, and then you start selling them individually to other people. They're not Blizzard.
You guys are so freaking lucky, dude. You are so lucky that I didn't know about this. You are so lucky. You ask Ed and Carl. I don't stop. When I find something that I want, I will kill. I won't stop. I won't eat. I will devour. I will hurt children.
That's true.
Entire orphanage gone.
Dude, I would be the grand poobah of that. Oh, I hate it.
I'm so glad that I'm kind of glad, but on the other hand, Mike, you could have a chopper. So I'm sorry that we distracted you with simply collecting Star Wars toys instead of Magic, where you could actually make it work for you instead of just ruining your marriage.
Now we can see it in Mike's eyes that he feels like he's made the wrong choice in his life. So Max, why don't you put this into perspective a little bit to make him feel better about how many people go to like the official tournaments by Wizard of the Coast when they do their pro tours? Like how many entries are there usually in those tournaments?
I don't know the numbers for the Pro Tour off the top. I think it's 400 people make invites. There's usually like a qualifier every weekend, and the Pro Tour season is about they're 3 months now. And so you have a qualifier every weekend, and that'll send one person. You have every one of the pros that are gravy training, so they've got enough like pro points to just be invited. You have everyone in the Hall of Fame is invited, but may or may not show up. And then you have the people that either top 4, top 8, or X2, the Grand Prix. So I think it's about 400 people show up to the Pro Tour. For the Grand Prix, they fluctuate wildly. Smaller ones will have maybe 800 people. That hasn't been the case recently, and the more recent ones usually breach 2,000. Grand Prix Richmond happened last month, and that was 4,300 players. Grand Prix Vegas last year was 4,500 players.
Wow.
So,
and about how many of those people finish in the money, like as far as like prize distribution?
for the Pro Tour, I think it's top 64. In the Grand Prix, it's top 128.
So.
Yeah, so not a whole lot of people.
Yeah, so I don't think you should go and hang yourself in your closet just yet, Mike, because.
Thank you for the perspective. However, and we do have to cut this because we got to get on to the next night.
Yes.
I got stuff to do this evening, and I got to go. But I think what we should do is try and get Max and Sherm together. She should have some sort of event at her place where he's the featured act. We could have a band, we could have whores, we could have kids on skewers, we could do just live mass suicides in front of the building and make this a magic gathering people would never freaking believe.
That's
I'm
right.
in. I'm totally in if I get to join him on his next overseas trip tournament.
That's you make the promise now, and then we go to the next show.
I'll think about it.
I swear, I'm in on this.
Yeah.
You have me at the child sacrifices.
They deserve
No,
it.
they were just on skewers. They weren't necessarily dead.
They were still alive. They're still alive.
Yeah. Just bound and tied to a stake. So, if you love this kind of thing,
If you love child sacrifices.
yeah, dancing whores at Magic the Gathering basement parties. Then, you should stick around with us at Voice of the Republic. So swing by VORradio.com, and we've got a lot going on there, as always. Back episodes and great community on Facebook, so you can show us pictures of your crazy basement parties and children on skewers.
And you can call us at the Republicon, 407-409-8749. And you can either love us, you could hate us, which a lot have shown, or you can tell us why. And you mentioned the thing about VORradio.com,
Yes.
the thing about Facebook, and that's pretty much it, right?
It's magical. That's it.
Yeah.
Magical.
You didn't say it that way.
Cool. All right. So hang out with us on YouTube. It's a playlist, so just sit tight and we'll just kick it over. Everybody else, see you on your pod players things. Cool. Yeah, I know. It's been a long weekend. Let's see to eat. There's allergies, beer, and girls. It's just stupid. Guys, I'm not ready for that basement party. I'm just gonna be honest. Cool, but yeah, until tomorrow, hey, may the force
Be with.
That ass.